Good evening from Ohio once again. It's your good buddy Spider doing the podcast thing, and you may notice that I'm a little late tonight. I have a good reason, though. I have a good reason. Usually I go on at 9:30 Eastern Time, but I'll get into the reasoning why I'm on at 10 Eastern Time for the live show in just a minute or two. But first, what is this episode about? Well, as of today, it is the tail end of spooky season. So that's what we're talking about. Spooky season. Let's talk about this. Now, you folks, I had the holidays episode in season 1. So you know I'm not really a big holiday person myself, but I know other people are. And spooky Halloween stuff is mostly a kid's thing. It's you know, the candy and the dress up and things like that. There are a lot of people that, you know, still do it in their older years, and that's fine too. But it's mostly a kid's thing, so it's mostly from my daughter. So she likes to go out and get candy, because why not? But for her, it's double duty. Because not only is it dress up and eat candy season, it's also birthday season. And that's why I was late today, because I didn't want to rush her through her birthday today, because she was doing all her birthday things and all that good stuff. So she not only has a giant bucket of sweets and treats, but she's also got a giant cake in the refrigerator. And it's a big cake. So she's going to be wired for a month. But yeah, spooky season, Halloween. Do you folks do that? I'm sure there's people out there going, "Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. We decorate the house and everything." And you know, that's great. That's great. I don't do that much here, but like I said, it's not really for me anyways, so it's not a big deal. We get a few people in the neighborhood that do the house decorating for every holiday. We have people who do it for just when fall comes along, before even Halloween is a thing. They'll put up like not really Thanksgiving stuff, but it reminds you a little bit of Thanksgiving, because it's like harvest things. And there's people who do Valentine's Day. There's people who do, you know, all this stuff. So there's a few houses in the neighborhood that are really decked out. Like, totally decked out, top to bottom. Like, they did their trick-or-treating in my neighborhood yesterday. And there's a house just down the ways. And I don't know who all lives there, but there's this one guy I know who lives there who always goes walking through. He doesn't drive. He walks to the store back and forth, and he's got a fedora. And he's always friendly when he goes through. But at his place, they always jam the Halloween tunes. Like, they'll play the stuff like Monster Mash and Thriller and all that other stuff. Stuff from Nightmare Before Christmas and all that kind of thing. Which is kind of one of those weird in-between things. Is it a Christmas movie or is it a Halloween movie? Is it both? Some people say it's both and it's not, and it can be watched whenever you want. And I say, okay. Whatever. But yeah, they play all this like music and things, and they call people, come up, get your candy, all that kind of stuff. And there's a few places in town that do that go really elaborate, like really just all kinds of things. And for people who are into that, that's cool. You know, I'm not really. When I lived farther north and farther to the east, still in Ohio, but when I lived closer to the lake, we did a little bit of decorating. Because it was me and a couple of roommates in the duplex. And one thing that we always did was, my one roommate, he had this big, handmade, Victorian-style, it was like a coffin. It didn't open. It was nailed shut. It was just supposed to look like one. You couldn't, like, it wasn't an actual coffin because it wasn't lined or anything like that, but it was supposed to look like it. And it was full size. It was full size for a person. He'd always take that and put that on the porch, which always got us in trouble with the landlord if we were there for too many weeks past Halloween with it still out there. He didn't like that. But we did that. We'd put, like, webs and stuff on the porch and whatnot. It was mostly for them stuff, because I've been a kind of a not big holiday guy for quite a while, but I try to be a good sport. These days I'm a lot grumpier than I was then, but anyway, try to be a good sport. And we usually do things around here, small stuff. Like we've put like spider things on the porch. We have a wooden spider that's hanging by the fridge right now that we used to put out on the porch. And I didn't put it out this year because I didn't want it to get stolen. I have this irrational fear all the time that there's always going to be something stolen. And sometimes it's not irrational because we've had things stolen in the past. But I let that get to me too much. And so we don't put things outside as much as we could. And maybe next year. Because this year, everything got away from us. It was so much going on. We didn't even do pumpkins this year. And I would go to the store and I would think, oh, maybe we should get pumpkins. But then I'd be like, no, I got to stay focused. We got to do this. We got to buy this. We got to buy this. And with her having her birthday this year and everything, making sure that was, like, her birthday was the centerpiece this time around. We didn't diversify into extra Halloween stuff as much. I wanted to make sure her birthday was, like, the number one thing. So, but next year we'll probably do pumpkins again. Because we did last year, we did the year before, and we've done it pretty much mostly every year that we've lived here. I mean, we've had a couple years before my daughter was born that we didn't, I think, here and there. But for the most part, we've done that at the very least, put it on the porch with a little, like, we used to put a candle in there, and now we use those little tea lights with the little switches, the little LED things, because they're easy to clean up and things like that. So, but we do things once in a while. And my daughter is always excited to dress up. And a lot of years she's had costumes where her mom has made them herself. They're homemade. And they turn out good. You know, it's not like, oh, we can't afford costume shorts. No, it's not like that. It's just, you know, if you're going to make a nice costume, might as well make a nice costume. You know, save a few bucks and make something nice. This year, we didn't have the time. We're like, we're not going to have time to do it. Plus, she wanted to be something very specific. Like last year, she was a Pikachu. All right, now that's kind of, you can get away with still doing some some homemade stuff. Just do some makeup on, get a bunch of yellow, you know, get the Pikachu ears. This year, she wanted to be Batman. And you can't just half backside of Batman. You gotta have a Batman. You gotta have the body armor. You gotta have, or at least have the appearance of all that kind of stuff. So we bought a costume this year. We got it from Amazon. And man, she loved it. She loved the costume this year. And her mom dressed up with a homemade costume as Robin. So they were Batman and Robin. It was supposed to be sort of like Lego Batman and Robin, for people who've seen the Lego Batman movie. But with still, you know, nods to all the other stuff. So she had a good time. She went trick-or-treating, and like I said, she got a huge bucket of stuff. She made friends with Spider-Man, and the two of them were buddies the whole time. She challenged Superman to a fight, I think. But, you know, she had a good time. And, of course, that's right around birthday time, so... But that's what we did this year. And we watched a few spooky movies. Not as many as we have in the past. I wasn't feeling it too much this year. I've had a lot of stuff on my mind with things. And we've just, you know, there's been times in the evening when I'm just like, I'm tired. I don't want to watch a spooky movie. I don't want to do that. So I've been kind of the buzzkill this year. But next year will be better. Next year is going to be expanded, I think. At least, if not in my own regard, in regard to other people being more spookified, you could say. But, yeah, we usually do stuff like that. We do, we don't really go to Halloween parties so much. I think I have once in a while in the past, but not often, because I'm not a dress-up person, but, there's been times over the last few years where Rob, the other half of This Uncanny Earth, of course, Where his son, they've had him trick-or-treating him, and we've taken my daughter over there, and they've trick-or-treated together. And then they've had, like, little get-togethers at his house. And then we've gone to, there's a museum here in town. It's based around the President McKinley Monument. And they have different things. They got dinosaur exhibits, and they've got natural history, and all kinds of, and they have a planetarium. And they have trains, and they have all kinds of stuff like that that are mostly local to the area. And we went to that. I'm thinking maybe 3, but maybe 4. 3 or 4 times with my daughter for because they'll do like candy stations where the employees will dress up and they'll give out candy, and then you can do like little events and things, and they'll have refreshments and stuff like that. So we didn't do that this year. That's another thing that just. Things just got away from us. I don't know if they were even putting it on this year. They probably were, or maybe they weren't. I don't know. I didn't look into it. But, like I said, I was focused more on the birthday priority, which went really well this year. It usually goes pretty well, honestly. But this year was, I think, it was more down-toned than some of her past birthdays, but it was nice and casual and nice and fun, and she had the huge cake. She had one of her favorite meals. So she had fun. But that was my spooky season. And I played a few spooky songs. I was kind of weirded out this year about that, because I remember in years past being able to put like whole playlists of quote-unquote Halloween-style songs and playing like long lists of things, but this year I couldn't think of hardly anything. I thought of the staples, like I thought of, Monster Mash and stuff, but then I was like, I don't know. What else would I play that's Halloween music? And I was stumped. I was stumped on it. And I think if I had more time to sit and really like look through my collection, I'd be able to kind of get the juices flowing and kind of figure out something, but I couldn't do it last second this year. Something was off about it, and I knew that there was more that I wasn't thinking of, but I could only really think about like 4 or 5 songs, and I played a few of those around the house, just doing some mood stuff. And my daughter has been watching Halloween episodes of all of her favorite shows. Like she watched a My Little Pony Halloween thing, and she watched some of her other characters and things. She watched some Doctor Who with her mother, and different things. So she got into the spirit of things. She watched some spooky movies. And she watched some old movies, watched some old black and white classic monster movies and stuff with some comedy and things. But yeah, it wasn't as elaborate this year, but we have done more stuff in the past. So if you have favorite Halloween traditions, or if you have things that you did this year that you didn't do the year before, or maybe you didn't do some things, then make sure you drop a comment once this hits YouTube, which it will in the next, probably over the course of the next hour and a half, because this is going to be about a half hour or so, and then after that it should go to YouTube relatively quick. So do that, or send me an email, uncannyspiritsclub@gmail.com. And for anybody who's asked, no, I'm not going to get a new email for every single show that I do, because then I'm going to be checking like 12 emails a day. It all goes to that. All the YouTube stuff and all this and everything goes to that one email, and that's how I'm going to do it, because I'm grouchy and I don't want to check 12 emails. But yeah. And Halloween, it comes and goes in importance for people, I think. Like, some years Halloween's a huge thing. Like, everybody's talking about it. Everybody's like, oh yeah, we're all going to do trick-or-treating. And you get people all over the neighborhood. And then sometimes you get years like this year where it's just not a huge priority. Like, I read a few times on one of the local neighborhood apps that we use that, oh yeah, we got 200-300 kids and we got this and that. But I saw a lot more posts about people who were like, we got 6 people. We maybe got 10 to 12. And I think people stayed in the more concentrated, like, main areas and didn't venture too far off into the side neighborhoods. And I know there's been some crime stuff going on lately over the last year, so that could have something to do with it. It's been kind of rough. Not right in my immediate area this time around. We've actually had it pretty quiet, but I mean the town itself has kind of been grappling with a few things. But there were also a lot more, and I haven't done any of these. I don't know if I've ever done one, but I know that they're popular around here. There were a lot more of the trunk or treat events this year, which is what a lot of people, if they're worried about safety, or, you know, sometimes local police forces will put them on, where you just get a bunch of people in a big public lot location, like a parking lot of a store, or just, you know, any place public where everybody can agree on. And they all have their cars lined up and maybe set up tables and things or whatever, or just, you know, right out of the trunk, they've got the bags of candy and whatnot, and the kids just hang out, and it's like a little miniature party almost for a couple hours. We've never really done that. I think as a kid, I don't recall ever doing that. I know we would do the trick-or-treating, but then we would also go to, my family always had church stuff, so we would go to one of the local churches. We went to 2 churches. We would go to one of them at least, and they'd have, like, cider and donuts and stuff, and they'd do, like, a spooky event, but they wouldn't go too crazy with it, because, you know, church doesn't always get along with Halloween stuff. But they did it more like a harvest festival thing, but they let you dress up, and you know, they didn't put too much of a damper on it. But you didn't usually go when they didn't do any weird, I don't want to say gore stuff, but, like, they didn't do, like, zombie decorations and stuff like that. They didn't do vampires and whatnot. They just kept it more harvest oriented, but they allowed you to wear the costumes so you could be gruesome if you wanted to, although some of them would turn their nose at you a little bit for, this is just not very palatable. But, you know, usually people all got along about it. I don't remember there ever being a problem at any of those. And we went to quite a few when I was a kid. But none of the trunk or treat stuff. I mean, that's an interesting concept. I think it's interesting. And it is safe. You know, you get a bunch of people together, and that's, you know, and the kids all kind of hang out together as a group and meet new kids in the neighborhood, or maybe they see their friends they don't see very often. But yeah, I don't know. What's weird is, I used to live out in the middle of nowhere when I was a kid. And we would have just enough kids up and down that stretch of road that there'd be trick-or-treaters. Like, we'd get trick-or-treaters at my mom and dad's house, which, of course, was my house at the time, because I was a kid. Down the ways at my various other family members' house, because we all lived in a relatively concentrated area, and people would go all up and down. But I think over time, the amount of kids kind of stretched thin along that area. And so it just kind of, we didn't do it as much. We would drive into town one way or the other, and do trick-or-treating in the towns rather than have it on my street. But I remember we used to do some of that. And then we'd usually end up at a relative's house for, like, a little mild, not really a Halloween party so much, but, like, Halloween get-together. Just an opportunity, like an excuse just to hang out with family. Because that's what most holidays are. It gives you a good excuse to hang out with family that you can't see all the time, because everybody clears their schedules. So everybody's got some time, usually. And some people do that with the other major holidays. Some people don't really celebrate, like, Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter all that heavily, but they're like, hey, you know what? Everybody else is going to be off work. Let's all get together anyway. And that's a good idea. I like that. I think that's a good idea. I don't get out too much anymore myself, but, you know, I think it's a good idea. And Halloween is like, you in the fall, before you get to Christmas, you've got Halloween and you've got Thanksgiving. And Halloween is consistently the one that people always do stuff with. And Thanksgiving tends to get skipped sometimes. Some people just go straight to Christmas. Some people are like, whatever. Or they lump Thanksgiving in with Christmas, and Thanksgiving and Christmas is like one big extended holiday. Halloween is like the only fall one where it's 100% stands alone compared to the other ones, which are now like one big winter event, which is weird because when I was younger, they were all really distinct. Like you had this one here, this one here. Thanksgiving was its own thing for sure. Then you had Christmas. Then you had whatever else came after and things like that. And nowadays it's not quite like that. Everything's all bundled up in one big thing. And but we still do, and because I'm not really a holiday person, but I am a food person. As evidenced by all the different episodes about food that I've had on both season 1 and season 2. I still, I don't do Thanksgiving as a Thanksgiving sort of thing, but I see it as, oh yeah, let's get together and eat some food. Let's get together and have a big amount of food. Let's do that, because I like doing that. I like having food. And, but yeah, spooky season. Now, in the past, when I did dress up when I was a kid, I had a few costumes. I'd only remember a few of them. And I thought, the more I was thinking about it, I think I got one wrong. We did the This Uncanny Earth Halloween party a few days ago, as of this broadcast. And I was trying to remember costumes I'd had as a kid. And one of them I'd thought was like an Optimus Prime costume, but now that I think about it, I don't think it was. I think it was an Ultra Magnus costume. If you're not a Transformers robot fan, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. If you are, then you'll know. It was basically just like a one-piece outfit with one of those horrible plastic cheap masks that tears in half when you bend it funny, with a rubber band in the back to hold it on, like a bungee strap kind of thing. And that was the helmet, basically. It was just that face thing. But I'm pretty sure it was an Ultra Magnus, and it wasn't. Because back then, it was the late 80s, and it wasn't like... You had more costume choices in Transformers, because there were more popular characters all around than just Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron, Soundwave. Because those are the four that always have costumes. You sometimes have a few of the other ones. But those four are the only ones that ever get costumes. So generally, it's usually always Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. Nowadays, anyway. But back then, you had a little bit more diversification. You had Megatron stuff, and you had Ultra Magnus here and there. So I was that one year, if I remember right. When I was younger, my earliest costume was a little devil costume. Course, which is basically like a pajama leotard kind of thing with like a sewn-on tail and the on the hood were like the little horns and stuff, and you had the little plastic pitchfork. I'm sure my folks thought that was a nice bit of irony. But there was that. I was a Ninja Turtle one year, which is funny because it had this big padded shell. It wasn't hard, but it was padded, like how my daughter's Batman suit had padded abs and muscles and things. And this was a padded turtle shell. And I reused that because it was the closest thing I had to armor for a church pageant for Christmas. I was supposed to be a Roman soldier, and it was the closest thing I had at home to Roman soldier armor was a Ninja Turtle outfit. So I wore that. So that got some extra use later on. I'm trying to think if I had any other like store-bought costumes beyond that. I might have. The last year that I remember dressing up, I did my costume myself. And believe it or not, I still have the centerpiece of that costume upstairs. I brought it down from the attic to show my daughter just a few days back. It's just a black cloak, black robe in that real thin Halloween costume material with like a tie around the neck to make sure it stayed on. And I had cut it down the middle, so instead of just an enclosed robe, it was more of a cloak you could put around your shoulders, because I was trying to be like a warlock or something, sorcerer kind of thing. I think that's what I was going for. Nobody else understood what I was supposed to be, because all it was that. I wore regular clothes underneath, I think, because I was like, I'm just going to do this. And that was the last time I think I remember dressing up. But I still have that one. I still have that. What about Halloween candy? Everybody likes Halloween candy. I was always like big into the peanut butter cups, that kind of stuff. The Reese's Pieces. Oh man, loved me some Reese's Pieces. And I liked some off the wall kind of things. I was talking about these on the Uncanny Earth Christmas party. We were talking about the candies, and there were these ones that were like a soft, chewy candy that looked like it was the colors of Neapolitan ice cream, but it was chewy, and it had coconut in it. So as you chew it, it was like chewy coconut in there, and they were really good. I don't even remember what kind of brand or what they were. There was probably one of the standard ones, and I remember as a kid, you'd get like caramel apples and things. Sometimes you get all kinds of stuff that was like, you don't get that these days because everybody's too worried about getting substances in their stuff, which I get. You don't want anybody to get sick either from like salmonella or something. But we'd get like no-bake cookies. We'd get all kinds of stuff other than just candy, and all kinds of stuff. And we were supposed to limit how much we ate, but I would always sneak a bunch of my stuff upstairs to my room and then just eat them all in secret. I would always do that, which is why, because my daughter's going to listen to this episode, I don't want to give her any ideas. That's why her candy bucket is on top of the refrigerator where she can't reach, so I can dole it out to her when, on a reasonable basis. And some people out there are going like, oh, it's Halloween candy, let them eat the candy. I'm like, do you want to watch my daughter for a week while she just eats unlimited candy? Because I guarantee you're going to want to give her back after a few days. She's not going to be bad, she's just going to be nuts on all this sugar. And she's going to come down as soon as she hear me say that, and she's going to be like, I'm not going to be nuts, give me all the candy. No. You get your piece here and there within moderation, and that's how we're going to do things. Better for your teeth anyway. But yeah, I always liked like the peanut butter stuff and the caramel stuff. She got a Rolo in her candy bucket this year, and I'm just like, what I wouldn't give to steal that piece of candy. But I'm not gonna. I'm actually not gonna. People out there going like, yeah, I bet you're not gonna. I'm not gonna. I can't eat those anymore anyway. That one little Rolo is gonna be like, it's full of milk and stuff, and because it's milky caramel and things like that. But they're delicious. They're absolutely delicious. But anyway, we're getting towards the end of the episode, and this was episode 36, which means there's only 3 more episodes left in season 2 before I take my month break and recharge a little bit before season 3. And that'll be pretty cool. I always like to take that little break and kind of come back with some new ideas and things. 3 more episodes to go. And the last episode is going to be a doozy. I've been planning this one, and this one, you're going to laugh. I'm not telling you what it is yet. I'm just going to tell you, if you tune in, you're going to laugh. It's going to be done a little different than my other ones, because I have to work around the time schedules and stuff. But it's going to be worth it. So, Halloween, spooky season. Once again, tell me all about your Halloweeny spooky traditions. Either drop a comment on the YouTube edition of this podcast once it goes up, or send me an email at uncannyspiritsclub@gmail.com. I would be happy to read all about about it and see what kind of memories you guys have. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do for today. Until next time, of course, it's your good buddy Spider, and I'm going to go not have anything sweet for the next month because I've had too much sugar already. So, see you next time.